Oh my goodness, chat. George R.R. Martin is really starting to get sick of our complaining. Interestingly enough, he wasn't getting sick when he was gorging himself with our cash. Like when we paid him, everything was good. Just like Peter Dinklage. Like, did you notice this? Like when you give them your cash, when you say nice things about the product, then they like you. But the moment you criticize, they get sick of you. They're disgusted of you. They're looking at the customer like some sort of necessary evil. Like the world would be so great and so much better if it wasn't for you guys complaining. Did you notice that people in Japan don't do this shit? I mean, there's a lot of manga writers. There's a lot of other people as famous or even more famous than Martin. And they don't do this stuff. Did you notice that people in the West before the 90s didn't do this stuff? Or even like before the year 2000? Like no one pulled this shit. There was a relationship of respect between the audience and the person that was creating the content. Because the person creating the content is nothing without the audience, right? Like we decided to make George R.R. Martin famous. We decided to make Peter Dinklage famous. But the problem is, like, they don't see it that way. They surround themselves with Hollywood producers and with the good people of society, you know, the ones that are completely disconnected. When they get an Oscar award and they open their mouth, you actually realize just how detached they are from reality. But they consider that to be the actual circle of decent human beings. And if you give them any slack, they act the same way that a noble acts if a peasant dares to complain. So what did Martin say recently? He posted a very passive-aggressive, disgruntled manifesto saying, I don't give a shit about writing any longer. I just sit around and spend my money. I edit Wildcards books too. But you hate Wildcards. You may hate everything else I have ever written. The Hugo winners and Hugo losers, A Song for Leah, Dying of the Light, this Tower of Ashes and The Stone City. I edited with my friend Gardner Dotsios. You don't care about any of those, I know. You don't care about anything but Winds of Winter. You've told me so enough, he added. The point, he continues, is that he does care about Winds and the world it inhabits. It's just more than who he is as a writer. Thing is, I do care about them, and I do care about Westeros and Winds as well. The Starks and the Lannisters and the Targaryens, Tyrion and Asha, Dany and Daenerys, the dragons and the direwolves. He cares more than you can ever imagine. He loved A Dozen Tough Jobs the first time I read it age ago. He loved Howard too. Saddens me that he did not live long enough to see the film. Okay. I will tell you what's going on here. I'll explain to you why Winds of Winter is probably never coming out. And I'll see if you guys agree with me or not. The first major issue is the friends that R.R. Martin surrounded himself with. You know, the decent human beings. They're part of an ideology that feeds itself on censorship. You cannot write the type of books that Martin writes anymore. Like, there's many cases of underage girls getting raped in his books. You have a girl that looks like Arya, and she's forced to marry Ramsay Snow, and he uses his dogs on the wedding night to violate her while Rick watches. And that's not even the worst thing in those books. And so if you remember how the TV show went and how the feminists started freaking out and put him on the spot, and it's like, oh my goodness, you condone rape. You're promoting it. You're promoting rape culture. Like, they actually told him that, right? And so they don't understand that there's a difference between fiction and reality, that a person can write really nasty stuff without the person themselves being a degenerate, that every single thing can be a toolbox in a writer's kit in order to create certain emotions. And what he wanted to create was a dark medieval society, which makes the reader appreciate that we don't live in those particular times. However, again, you know, the stuff that could have been written a decade ago cannot be written now. It would destroy his brand image. And so I genuinely think that this is a financial reason for why he is not releasing the book. The second reason probably has to do with the reception of the TV show Game of Thrones. The way R.R. Martin writes is by foreshadowing events, by setting the puzzle pieces so that the reader can figure out, okay, well, they made this bad decision, it's going to haunt them later. And when the stuff hits the fan, when the shit happens, then people go, I should have foreseen it. Like, of course, it makes sense. But the show rushed these things, like the Hodor reveal, the Dany is actually evil reveal, like all these things have soured the audience, and everyone knows what the ending is going to look like. And so his choice is to either keep writing the shit he is writing and then upset a lot of people, destroy his legacy, or make changes, but if it does make changes, then it doesn't fit with the rest of the puzzle pieces. And I think like he's placed in a difficult position. Of course, you may actually lose interest. There's a lot of stuff that I enjoyed 10 years ago, and today I don't care that much about them. So like being forced to be on the same project for more than 10 years, I guess it can take its toll. And obviously, it's the fact that maybe you want to move on from that. Like, maybe you want to write about something else, you want to do something else, but, like, everyone just goes, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones. So while I understand where he's coming from, the way he's lashing at the fans, who, again, are the ones that gave him money and made him famous, is incredibly disrespectful. I have more respect for the fans that are lashing out because they also are entitled to do so. Like, they spent money on his books. They spent time. They invested their own personal interest into something that ends up with disappointment. Like, a lot of people, had they known that the story is not going to receive an ending, may have not purchased the books at all. It's like a non-verbal agreement, an implied agreement between the customer and the writer that, well, you're going to actually get a sort of ending. This is the reason that I don't even pick up Berserk or Firefly or other popular things. Like, I know they don't have an ending, and so I don't want to end up to the point where I see the final episode and I know that nothing else is coming. So, this was expected. The only way that I can see Winds of Winter coming out is if you already wrote it, it's in a safe somewhere, and like after he dies, makes it public so that, fuck censorship, fuck all of the people that will spurg out. What are they going to do about it? He's dead. So like that may be one way. Otherwise, I don't expect Winds of Winter to come up, and definitely not the book afterwards. Like, if it took him more than a decade and he still hasn't made Winds of Winter, like there's no way, mathematically speaking, that he's going to write another book. What do you guys think, though? And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.